You know, I was actually about to come on here and tell you that August wasn't my month, but I had 2 5 stars in August, so I think it was my month. It's kind of crazy how reading speed sometimes affects how I felt about my month. Like, I had a low amount of books read in August, so I feel like it was not my month, but quality over quantity, that is what we are preaching. So really, it was my month. In August, I read a total of 7 books, so definitely a slow month for me, as I said. Still a really solid month in my opinion. Like, reading 7 books in 1 month is such a privilege, but it is my full-time job. This is what I do for a living. So I definitely have more pressure on myself to read a little bit more for vlogs and money, essentially, but also just because of my love of reading. Like, I truly do want to read constantly. So when I have a slower reading month like this, I'm like, what was wrong with me? Like, what was I feeling this month? Like, what burnout did I feel and how can I fix that for future months? Is definitely something that runs through my head. But if I'm being honest, I just had a lot going on this month. I was trying to get ahead of content. I failed at that because I had friends that visited me for about 10 days and then bought a house, so I'm trying to get ahead for that, and then I'm going away again in like 2 months, so I'm really just been stressed. And sadly, stress does not equal reading because I don't read when I don't feel like reading. I'm very good about that. So I definitely have lower reading months when I'm stressed, but also that doesn't help me get ahead of content, which is half the reason I'm stressed. It's a circle that I don't like. That was not a circle. That was like a heart. The total pages read does come to 3,757. That is on the lower end for me, but I've also had months around that page amount, so it's not awful either. Like, it's not drastically lower than my other low months, but it is like not my average, which is more like 4,000 to 5,000. And it puts my average pages per day at 122 pages per day. I typically read closer to 200 pages per day, so that one does feel a little bit sad, but I was busy this month and that's okay. The average page count of a book was 538 pages, which actually feels a little bit high. I think I've been closer to 400 most months. And my most read genre this month was just plain old fantasy. As I said earlier, I had 2 5 stars, 2 4 stars, and 3 3 stars, and 0 2 stars and 0 1 stars. This puts my average star rating at 3.86. As we all know, the month to beat is January. I read so many 5 stars in January and had an average star rating of 3.92. So I still didn't beat it, but this is the closest I've come to beating it this year. So really, it was my month. Like, this is my second best reading month in the end, according to star ratings, and that's incredible. Also, fun fact this year, wow, maybe that's why I feel like it's not my best reading month. Almost every single month except for January and February, I've read 2 5 stars in them. January I read 5, and February I read 0. So February was my worst reading month. That is interesting though. I've been very consistent with 2 5 stars every month. That's fun to look at. I read 1 dark romance this month, 3 fantasies, 2 fantasy romances, and 1 paranormal romance. So really, romance was my most read genre, but because I break them into categories, I also break fantasy up. Fantasy, just like plain fantasy, not romantasy was. That's all my stats for you, so let's get into the reviews of the books. We started the month off with that dark romance. I read Insatiable by Lee Rivers. I read this for TBR Swap with Jess. I liked this. I didn't love it. I gave it 3 stars. I am quickly learning that second chance romance is not my favorite. I definitely prefer to watch people fall in love on paper. I definitely like to see their entire relationship happen. I don't necessarily believe it sometimes otherwise, or I feel like things are happening too fast. So I think that's why Enemies to Lovers has always worked for me so well. This is a pretty dark romance. We follow our female lead as she tries not to fall in love with her best friend's brother. He is the son of a serial killer, and he definitely has some of those traits, and he's not really that good for her, is all I'm going to say. It's kind of a book that you go into pretty blank. I don't really want to tell you everything about it. He definitely has some like mafia ties and things like that. There's definitely some abuse. Check trigger warnings for it. I personally found it very unbelievable at times. You really have to suspend your disbelief, especially with his character. I really enjoyed the first half, and then we got into some more of his like mafia stuff, and I was like, how did you do that without getting caught? And things like that. It just felt like things weren't well developed in that stance, and maybe I could have believed it if they had like kind of explained how they covered things up and stuff, but they didn't really. He just pretty much had a team to go clean things up, but some of them I was like, there's no way you could clean that up. Like, what is going on here? And like, he was hiding things from his family, but he had so much money, a private jet. Like, it was very unbelievable for me, and I think that that took a lot out of it. I just didn't love their romance either. It was pretty smut heavy, and it felt very traveling. Like, we were in a hotel room quite often. It was like scene, hotel room, scene, hotel room, scene, hotel hotel room, and that's not my favorite type of story to read. I did enjoy this one though. I did think it was fun. I enjoyed the smut in it, and I did enjoy their banter and their personality together, so I did still like it, but I will not be continuing on in the series. But I had a pleasant time reading this one, and if you like dark romance a little bit more than me, if you can suspend your disbelief, I would recommend it. And then I picked up Immortal Consequences. I read this for my anticipated releases vlog of the month. I was really excited to get to this. It's dark academia, but we're in a ghost world essentially. Once you pass through into the afterlife, there is a school setting essentially where you go to help get other souls, to help those souls pass. We follow a bunch of characters as they want to enter the decimal, which essentially, as you help these souls, as you go to this school, your memory of your human life, like your life alive, slowly starts to leave, and you want to compete in this trial so that you ascend, and then when you ascend, you no longer have the missing memories and stuff like that. So we follow a bunch of characters as they compete in this trial because they all want to ascend. But there's more than meets the eye. It's dark academia, so there's secrets and things like that. Personally, this was just a lot for me, and it didn't hit things. I didn't really care about the characters, and part of that is because we follow 6 characters with long chapters in a 500-page book. We did not get enough time with each character, in my opinion. Shorter chapters for me would have done better, I think. I just found myself waiting to get to the characters that I liked, waiting to get back to the scene that I was interested in, and having to read a bunch more characters that I didn't really care about. I think we had too many characters to follow. The, like, secrets of this were definitely cool, but not enough to keep me super intrigued. But I did like the paranormal elements of this. It was also a little bit murky in like how these people have been here for like hundreds of years, but they're still acting like 16-year-olds. We could have just made them not hundreds of years old at times. Like some of them are and some of them aren't. I didn't love this, but I think I'm learning that I'm not the biggest dark academia fan, which is kind of interesting because I love school settings, but I don't love dark academia, I don't think. I find the characters always fall flat for me in dark academia. Maybe it's because the mystery takes such a forefront in the story. I'm not really sure. I would have to really like deep dive into maybe why and think about it a little bit more before I like 100% say I'm giving up on dark academia. But also, what is the line? Like, what is dark academia versus what is just a school setting? Because there are definitely some books that I personally would just call a school setting that are on dark academia lists. There's something like atmospheric about dark academia that I think school settings sometimes miss, but like also Arcana Academy I feel like could kind of fit both. I'm not really sure, but this wasn't for me. I think in the new release video I did say if you enjoy dark academia a lot more than me, if you enjoyed like the Atlas 6 a lot, I gave that one 3 stars as well. Pick this up, you might like it more than me. Next up, I picked up a release I was actually kind of scared for, which was The Fallen in the Kiss of Dusk, which is the 4th book in the Crowns of Nyaxia series, but the 2nd book in the Nightborn duet. I didn't like book 1 in this duet. I still give it 3 stars just because I love Carissa's writing and I was intrigued enough, but I don't have the fondest memories of it. So I was very scared and hesitant to pick up book 4, but I love Carissa. You know, I say this as someone who didn't like Daughter of No Worlds, but Serpent is just like peak romantasy for me, so I'm always hoping I'll get another Serpent for her, and I personally think Fallen in the Kiss of Dusk knocked it out of the park. I ended up giving this one 4 stars. I feel like this got a lot of what I thought the 3rd book missed. I feel like I had the character that I loved from Serpent back. This duology follows Misha and her love interest Asar. Misha is a character from Serpent and the Wings of Night. She was a side character, and when we went into Songbird, I felt like she lost all of her personality. I didn't think that she felt like the same character, and I think in book 4 we see it again. I saw both sides of her. I saw the side that we did get in Songbird, but I also saw the side that we got in Serpent, and I think they mended really well together. Also, I think Asar just won me over in this one because we do get his POV in this one, and he is so devoted to our girl. Like, he is so obsessed with her, and I loved that element of him. I liked how this expanded to be the gods and stuff as well. However, that was also a complaint because these are vampire books. They are about vampires, and the vampires are more unique than like your traditional vampires, so I have seen people complain about that when they go in wanting a vampire book. They're like vampire fae. They're like a blend of them in my opinion. But in book 2, this is about meddling gods. I could have forgotten they were vampires at any time. It didn't really feel vampire-ish at all, where I feel like Serpent to me still felt vampire-ish. So there was that, but I also love meddling gods. I loved how expansive the god stuff did and how expansive the world building was, and the lore. I really enjoyed some of the lore we got about how vampires were made and just like the petty politics of the gods. I really did enjoy that. that. I love petty politics in books. It was giving family drama, but gods. So there was definitely a lot of elements of that I liked. I do think these books are kind of repetitive. She definitely has a formulaic style for book 1 and then a formulaic style for book 2. And if you read Serpent and Ashes, you will understand that formula pretty quickly in this one. But I personally don't think that affected my enjoyment in this one. It did affect my enjoyment in book 1, but I think that's because I just didn't care about the characters then. This book had so much to do because it truly had to make me care for these characters for me to give it the 4-star that I gave it. And it did. Like, by the end of this, I felt so much for Asara and Misha, and I was rooting for them and wanting them to win. Also, this introduces characters back that we saw in Serpent, and I loved that. I very, very much was excited about that. One thing I will say is everyone says you have to read the other books, specifically saying The Vampire Conqueror is said to read first. I don't think you need to. That's probably a hot take. These characters do come into play, but I don't think you're missing anything if you don't read it. It might add something to you if you do read it, but don't feel stressed about reading this beforehand if you can't get your hands on it or anything. You do see them. You definitely do, but I think you could read this afterwards. I think the only thing that's gonna happen is if you read Slaying the Vampire Conqueror first, you're gonna be like, oh, I love these characters already, blah, blah, blah. If you read Fallen first, you're going to be intrigued and want to read this. I don't think that it will affect your enjoyment at all. So I just wanted to put that out there because I feel like everyone's like, you have to read this first. You do see them, and it was fun to see them, but also I would have read Fallen and be like, who are those characters and what are their stories? And since this is a standalone, you know they're ending up together anyways, so it wasn't a big deal that you saw them like happy in this one. So definitely wanted to put that out there. This is one of my favorite covers ever to ever exist. So 4-star for me. I'm very, very excited for the next duology in this. I think that one has the potential to be my favorite duology, and the ending, like the last chapter of this one sets it up, and I like mouth dropped. Like, I can't wait. I need to get my hands on it pretty ASAP. Well, not ASAP, I have to wait a year, but that's fine. But ASAP in a year. Like, as soon as it's out, I'm always on top of these. I'm always reading them. Carissa is God. That's all I have to say. Quickly after that, for that exact same video, my anticipated releases, that's what all 3 of these were for, I read Terror at the Gates by Scarlett St. Clair because everyone, and I mean everyone, was shouting about this one. I sadly gave this one 3 stars. It was a really big letdown for me considering everyone I knew was loving it. I don't even know how to explain to you what this one is about. It was just so everywhere for me. Like, I don't have a straight plot line to tell you, and I think that that is 100% why I struggled with this book. Like, I can't tell you what the plot was. It felt very slice of life to me. We watched a lot of scenes with characters that I was like, why are we here? Like, what are we doing? What is the plot of this? Why are we doing this when we could be doing this? And I think I just found myself really frustrated at the characters for that. I definitely like a more plot heavy story. I like to have a clear direction for my story. That's why I like school settings. That's why I like trials. And I just felt like I didn't know where this book was going constantly. I think I will continue on in the series. I was intrigued by the ending, and I would love to see it become multi-POV because I did really like our male love interest. I just really didn't vibe with our female main character. But if we got his POV in the later books, I think I could be obsessed with that because I did really enjoy his scenes. I enjoyed the scenes of them together, but I just wanted more from the story than what I got. Like, I just wanted more plot. We got plot at the end, which is why I was interested. Like, the first 50 pages and the last 50 pages, I feel like were all plot. The rest, half the time, I was like, we're just meandering around. So I'm sorry I didn't tell you what this was about, but I can't really. I don't know how to explain it. We're following a secondary urban setting. Our main character is the daughter of one of the like ruling families to one of the like sections in the city, and essentially she was born to just be married off. Like, women are born with power in this world, and then the men just use their power. Like, men don't have magical powers. Her power is like of lust and stuff, which I didn't love either, but it made the book feel very lusty to me very quickly, and I don't love that in stories. But she ends up not wanting to be married off, so she runs away from home and she goes to another section and has like the protection of this person's ruler, who's her love interest. And that's pretty much the entire storyline. Her trying to avoid having to go home to be married off, which, like, relatable. I wouldn't want to be married off either, but I needed more plot. That's all. Right after that, we switched to my challenge vlog, and I read a 5-star. I reread the Truth Witch series by Susan Dennard. Well, not the series. I reread book 1. We're doing a read-along of it over on my Patreon, so book 1 was August, book 2 is September. I had read these before way back when, but the last book is being released at the end of this year, and I was like, you know what, let's do a reread because I don't really remember a lot, and these were so complex. I remembered loving them. I'm very happy I decided to do that because I gave this 4 stars originally, and as I said, I gave it 5 stars now. I feel like the intricacies of this world, the details, all the connection things are so well done, especially for a YA series. It does feel like YA to me, but it is like complex the way that adult fantasy can be. But I think that YA fantasy should be complex as well, and I love when it is. In this, we're following our main character who is a truth witch, but no one knows she's a truth witch, because if they do, she will either be used as a political pawn, meaning the person in power will use her to figure out if anyone's lying to her, because essentially if someone lies to her, her magic tells her, so she could always tell if you're telling the truth. So she'll be used for political gain, or she'll be killed because people don't want her to have that power. Like, no one wants their enemies to be able to tell if they're lying to them. That wouldn't be good. So she's hiding that truth, but when someone finds out, she ends up on the run, which is hilarious because on the run stories are not my favorite, but the way this is done, it just feels so found family-ish. There's so many good aspects to it. We're like expansive world building. We're always with lots of characters that I loved. I love the characters in this, truly. The truth witch in this has a essentially sister companion. They like grew up together. They're like best friends, but they definitely have like a sisterhood, and I love their sisterhood, and whenever they have moments together, I feel it and I love it. But even when the moments are apart, I love how much each other still mattered to them. It really, really felt so real and raw, but there's also other relationships in this that I literally die for. And I'm just so excited that I continued on in this because I loved it. And I need to read book 2 this month, and I'm so excited because I think I liked book 2 originally more than book 1, so I'm curious if that will continue. And I already gave this 5 stars, so like, that's just exciting. But that's my little review of Truth Witch. And then I continued on in the Zodiac Academy series, finally, and I read Zodiac Academy 4, Shadow Princess. I ate this one up. I gave it 4 stars. I just love this world so much. I love these siblings. I love the men in it. I love the world building. I have such a fun time with this. I really need to binge them faster. I'm really falling behind on my plan to read this whole series this year, but also it's fun to have something to look forward to constantly. And I truly look forward to this series every single time I pick it up. It's such a fun read. It's so easy. In Zodiac Academy, we follow 2 sisters who learn that they are the long-lost heirs to the Solaria throne, and that also comes with a large inheritance that they really need because they're broke. And in order to get that inheritance, they have to go to Zodiac Academy and graduate. Now they get to this school and there are these heirs, these men that have been told that they are going to rule Solaria because they're the most powerful and the actual heirs have been lost. They don't want to give that up, so they decide to bully the girls to try to make them leave Zodiac Academy, because then if they never graduate, they can't become the rulers. And it's really messy because the girls didn't even really want to rule, they just wanted their inheritance, but now they're like, you want it, so I want it. And it's great, and there's romance in it and things like that. And book 4 was fun. Book 4 was fun. Book 4 expanded the world and the lore quite a bit. There's really cool magic system in this. Like, I feel like when people talk about Zodiac Academy, they talk about the bully romance and the fun, but honestly the whole world in this is really cool. Essentially they're all fae, and there's different types of fae. So there's like vampire fae, werewolf fae, unicorn fae. There's so many dragon fae, so many of these things, and the difference is how they get their powers. So they're all fae, but if you're a vampire, you drink blood of people. The stronger the blood, like the stronger the magic in the person you're drinking, the stronger it replenishes your magic. The werewolves run in the moonlight. The unicorns fly. The dragons like to steal like shiny things. And I think it's just like really interesting how there's all these types of magical creatures that we know and love, but with a little twist on it. And I really enjoy how it all melds together. There's also a lot about like astrology and stuff in this, aka Zodiac Academy. Truly so fun. Peak entertainment. It reads like a CW show. If you were a CW girl like me, you will like this. Like, it reads truly like a CW show. Number 4 especially felt like a Christmas special, but like a good Christmas special, because if we do celebrate Christmas in this, it is a little slice of lifey, but in a way where like everything still feels important, the way everything feels important in a CW show. That's like my best way to explain it. I definitely recommend this one. And then another 5-star for me was The Final Strife by Sara El-Arifi. I can't believe I almost never read this. This author wrote another book that I read called Faebound, and I liked Faebound, but I didn't love it, and I didn't really plan on continuing. So I was nervous to pick up The Final Strife. I did a video concept that I'm very, very proud of. It's the last vlog on my channel currently, called Can I Predict a 5-Star? And I looked at a 5-star audit. I did a 5-star audit for myself, and then I found books that had multiple things that were on that 5-star audit, and I predicted a 5-star. Like, spoiler alert, I did it. I picked up The Final Strife for it. I probably would have never picked this book up without it, and I'm so happy I did because this was incredible. I truly don't even know how to explain to you how good this book was. If you liked The Poppy War and if you liked Fireborn, I feel like it's like those 2 books had a baby in some aspect. It has a lot of the prejudice and systematic racism that Poppy War talks about, but also the talk about like rich privilege that Fireborn has and the breaking down of power and corruption and things like that. And it is so freaking incredible. I loved it. We follow a story about the Stolen, essentially. So in this world, there are 3 types of blood. There are the red bloods who are on top top, the blue bloods, and then the clear bloods. And there is great wealth, great privilege, great prejudice stances between them. And by great, I mean like vast, not good. I mean just like large, great quantities. So like the clear bloods are down here, the blue bloods are there, and the blue bloods have prejudice against clear bloods. And then the blue bloods are here, and then red bloods are like way up here, and the red bloods have prejudice against the blue bloods. There's so much prejudice in this. It's so well developed. I absolutely cannot fathom how incredible this book was written. Like, it's so good. But the blue bloods have a plan. They are going to sneak in to the homes of red bloods, the people in power, steal their babies, and replace them with blue blood babies. They're then going to take those red-blooded babies, raise them as blue bloods, raise them in the prejudice, raise them in the racism, raise them in the lack of wealth, in poverty, so that they have the heart of a blue blood, a heart of a duster. And then when the time comes, they're trained their entire life, they're going to compete in this challenge that the red bloods have that any red blood can compete in. You just gotta have red blood. That's all you gotta do to prove it. And that picks our next like leaders of society. They're gonna put a red blood with a blue blood's heart on top to change the whole system, to take it all down. And my god, it's an incredible story. We follow 3 characters. So we follow that red blood who's raised as a blue blood, but we also follow the blue blood raised as a red blood that they replaced her with. And then we also follow a clear blood who, this world is so cruel to the clear bloods. They are just servants essentially, and they are treated horribly. Horrible things are done to them as babies. It's kind of insane. But it was so well written. So it's a really deep story. There is so much going on. The magic system in itself is also really interesting. The fantasy aspects are really engaging. I have nothing but good words to say about this story. I'm currently reading book 2, so I can't wait. I think this will be probably, honestly, could be my all-time favorite series of all time at the end. Like, it could be on top. I truly love it so much, so I need more people to read it. It's incredible. Those were the 7 books I read. I did also DNF 2 books, and I haven't really been talking about my DNFs very often in wrap-ups, but I do want to remember to a little bit more. I just forget about them, honestly, since I don't really mark them down anywhere. But I DNF'd Till Death. I read that in the 5-star audit vlog as well. This was a failure. Obviously, I did not predict a 5-star here, but I did it, so I know it can be done. I really loved that video, so if people would check it out, that would be incredible. I had so much fun with it, but I DNF'd this one. I don't have a lot to say. If you want my thoughts on it, just watch the vlog, because I truly have just blocked it out of my brain. And then I also DNF'd the second book in the Iron and Ember series by Helen Schuer. I was just bored in this one. I feel like it was a remake of book 1, and I also feel like it had no stakes. There was something that happens at the end of book 1 that I was really excited to read about and figure out how they were gonna get past that, and it doesn't even matter in book 2 at all. So I DNF'd this at like 60%. I was just so bored. I did not care at all. I put it down one day and I just never picked it up. I might pick it back up if people scream about book 3, because I do love the Blood and Steel series by Helen Schuer. So if people end up like loving it, then I might try it once again, but currently it's like a DNF for now. So those are my 2 DNFs of the month. Let me know how your August went. What was your best book of the month? Mine was The Final Strife for sure. If you've made it all the way to the end of this video and you'd like to leave me an emoji just to say you were here, leave me a crown emoji. I'll leave that 5-star audit on the screen for you to check out, as well as the other like challenge vlog I did this month with like the other beads in it, and have yourselves an absolutely remarkable day.